Hey there, Truth Seeker. Welcome to our channel and community where we focus on developing the knowledge, understanding, and wisdom to accelerate your ascension into the fifth dimension and beyond. For those returning, welcome back, and a massive hello to our new subscribers and listeners. My name is David Keratin. I am a 13-sign astrologer, indigo warrior, and EDM DJ. Feel free to check out our playlist linked below. My partner, Sana, and I work together with 13-sign astrology. Today, we will both narrate this fascinating reading. For disclosure, we subscribe to the Astro app platform, although we are not affiliated with them for marketing. Before we go further, what can you expect from today's reading and what is our channel all about? For starters, our guiding principle is that the beginning of wisdom is to know thyself. Or, put another way, knowing others is intelligence, and knowing yourself is true wisdom, which is a quote from Lao Tzu, a philosopher. To contribute to this, we explore and interpret the 13-sign astrology system, which includes the constellation of Ophiuchus, the archetype of the Divine Feminine in the Age of Awakening. Astronomically, the southern part of Ophiuchus sits between Scorpius to the west and Sagittarius to the east. Known as the Snake Bearer and Golden Eagle, Ophiuchus is located opposite Orion, the home of Saturn. This reading is specifically about the Scorpio new moon occurring on Thursday, November 24, 2022 at 11:57 a.m. New Zealand Daylight Time, where we are located. For those in the United States, this equates to 5:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on November 23rd. From a technical perspective, the new moon at 0 degrees Scorpio, in a conjunction with Venus and Mercury in Ophiuchus, generates a significant amount of feminine energy. In addition, we will discuss the relationship of Pluto in the late stages of Sagittarius, forming an opposition to Pallas Athena at 26 degrees Gemini. These are a complicated series of alignments. As such, this blog will be longer than our most recent episodes, and it will contain a lot of information. Before we get to that, let's set some context. For us, 13-sign astrology is the study of human behavior through a spiritual lens. This ancient system facilitates connection with the universal intelligence who communicates through the dance of the planetary energies. Within the astrological mosaic are dozens of puzzle pieces. Together, these form a map of human consciousness. Because astrology taps into the morphic resonance, this infers that we are dealing with oscillating energy, frequency, and vibrations. When utilized skillfully, it becomes a magical key that unlocks doorways to latent soul memories residing in the Akashic record. We see the various planets, asteroids, centaurs, and stars as an interstellar network with hubs, routers, and servers. Individually and collectively, their etherical bodies contain information. Each planetary body transmits electromagnetic pulses of light and sound that can be decoded. Some of these frequencies will be dissonant to you, while others will be resonant. Just as flowers and plants contain DNA sequences that respond to various stimuli like the sun, wind, and water, which in turn generate alchemical processes like photosynthesis that trigger the DNA to respond, a process called gene expression, so too are we humans capable of interacting with these interdimensional communication hubs. When we talk about the expansion of consciousness, we are referring to any action you can take to increase your light quotient through study, meditative techniques, and other mind-body-spirit activating modalities. Staying curious while maintaining an attitude of gratitude is important as well. For clarity, we are not saying that planetary bodies are the cause of events. Instead, they are markers of time. And as archetypes, they provide us with a blueprint for navigating life. An archetype is a pattern of behavior, prototype, or characteristic common to a collective. Classic archetypes include the mother, the mystic, and the lover, yet there are dozens of them. Astrology assigns some of these well-established archetypes to planetary bodies like Mars for the warrior and Venus for the queen. Archetypes are the basis of storytelling, movies, anthropology, and Jungian psychotherapy. These generalized stereotypes can be modified and nuanced through the filter of your own experiences, karmic imprints, and accumulated knowledge. Casting a personal chart, therefore, helps us to interpret how these archetypes consciously or unconsciously affect, impact, or influence you. For more on the mechanics and methodology of 13-sign astrology, please review our prior videos and the various links below. The theme of this reading is transforming, transmuting, and transcending the fires of desire. As mentioned in the introduction, we will deep dive into the role of Pluto and Pallas Athena as archetypes of liberty, freedom, and sovereignty. We will highlight how the Grand Grimoire, Red Dragon, and the Keys of Solomon have been used to enslave us, and we will touch on Pluto arriving at the cusp of Capricorn as signalling a pivotal time for humanity that could affect the next 500 years. Pluto by nature involves descending to the depths of our collective unconscious where fears exist. Until we bring our light to our dark essence, we remain unable to connect our higher self to our lower nature through the vertical pillar or the human spine. The underworld is where eschatology and end times prophecies find their juice. At the core of the darkness is the abuse of the Saturn and Lilith iconography to manifest power and control. This has left an indelible imprint on our human genome. To unwind this damage, we look to the archetypes of Pluto and Pallas Athena, who play a prominent role in this new moon configuration. In mythology, Pallas was fashioned from the head of Zeus. As such, she holds a lofty position inside the Roman pantheon. Pallas is associated with the healing arts, creative intelligence, and strategic warfare. She expresses the courage of Leo, the middle path of Libra, and the innovative energies of Aquarius. Much like Arcturus, Pallas aligns with natural law. Meanwhile, the constellation Ophiuchus, where Venus and Mercury are located at this new moon, symbolizes the integrative healer, able to flow between allopathic and alternative modalities. Her mission is to restore Mother Gaia and her inhabitants. Ophiuchans are acutely aware of the mind, body, and soul relationship as the basis of well-being. Once tuned in, they can easily sense etherical blockages, cords, and attachments. The world cries out for the metaphysical powers of Ophiuchus, the transformative impetus of Pluto, and the strategic wisdom of Pallas Athena. Alongside fire, earth, water, and air, Ophiuchus transmits waves of divine ether, or fifth element, throughout the multiverse. As Divine Feminine, she can alchemize any situation or scenario, personal or collective, that impedes our potential. Ophiuchus is the quintessential component required to transmute negative frequencies and vibrations. Historically, Ophiuchus was removed from the astrological calendar by the Babylonians, while Claudius Ptolemy of Rome formalized this era in his 12-sign zodiac design almost 2,000 years ago. Unfortunately, the Ptolemaic system has become the basis of all mainstream astrology in the West. Therefore, anyone born between November 30 and December 18 carries the resonance of Ophiuchus but may not realize it. Low awareness of the 13th sign and the 5th element has massive implications for the Age of Awakening, akin to playing chess without the queen. While many Ophiuchans feel their resonance deep down, they have no astrological context for their restorative powers due to deceptions wrought by the Roman and Babylonian elite. Some astrologers will argue that Ophiuchus is not part of the accepted astrological lexicon, so people need not recast their charts. This notion is absurd. Ophiuchus has always existed, which means that the sun, moon, and all planetary bodies have been interacting with her since the dawn of time. People utilize astrology as a pathway to self-discovery, so for this to truly occur, astrological readings must include the constellation of Ophiuchus. With this new moon on the cusp of two feminine signs, shadow work becomes easier. When we bring light to ghosts and skeletons resident in our subconscious mind, they dissipate. Pluto's energies expose secrets and lies. So, depending on our perspective, this new moon could be either disruptive or liberating. Helping us through this process of revelation and realization is Pluto's location in the late stages of Sagittarius, when her energies are the most intense. Pluto was last in this location in 1776, and before that in the 1500s. These two periods hold vital clues that help us to code the matrix algorithm. While rare alignments such as Pluto on the cusp of Capricorn are generally beneficial for humanity at a transpersonal level, the lessons and insights available now can also be applied individually to guide our next steps. Plutonic energies involve transformation, transmutation, and transcendence. These powerful words carry weight and responsibility. When we talk about transforming, transmuting, and transcending the fires of desire, we are referring to the 7 cardinal vices: pride, greed, lust, envy, gluttony, wrath, and laziness. Vices oppose sacred virtues like knowledge, temperance, and kindness. Pluto, as the guardian of Scorpio, is our focus because she is the planetary archetype associated with transforming oppressive systems, transmuting negative energies, and preparing ourselves to transcend the matrix. The word transcend means to hurdle, sidestep, or subdue. Transcendence begins by identifying what it is that we intend to transcend. Stepping back, the matrix system arises from the development of an egregore, a non-physical entity that stems from collective thoughts and emanations. Knowledge of the egregore and how to create them requires a clear understanding of how to harness electric currents, alchemize magnetic fields, and manipulate geometric shapes. Egregores exist in the etheric and astral planes, which means that they can be called on to manifest the desired outcome, negative or positive. This is what occultists and black magicians do. It is the egregore that has been used to fulfill the maxim as above, so below. Egregores cascade or transmit their intelligence via waveform to create physical reality. Equally, they are sustained via the mechanism of entrainment, with sound and light as the most effective vectors. Egregores are powerful interdimensional entities that can be transformed by the divine ether of Ophiuchus. Madame Blavatsky wrote in 1888 that every thought evolves with energy from the brain nolens volens, which means this concept is the truth whether we like it or not. Projection is the fuel behind the holographic universe, a secret kept for millennia by dark path practitioners. Blavatsky taught us that thoughts are phenomena that emanate into the quantum field. In contemporary writing on the subject, Dr. Joe Dispenza, author of How to Break the Habit of Being Yourself, speaks of our cerebrum as piezoelectric, meaning that our brain generates electrical pulses from the pineal gland. He talks extensively about the presence of non-centrosymmetric crystals in the human pineal that generates electromagnetic frequencies. Science says that the pineal tissues in our brain respond to harmonic generation, which is the study of frequency and wavelengths. The pineal is a crystalline organ that responds to carefully tuned harmonics. Dispenza confirms also that our heart generates piezoelectrical pulses or magnetism. In his view, heart-brain coherence is a key to effective manifestation. Dispenza says that when we consciously align our thoughts and feelings, we cause an electromagnetic ripple to go into the field. This knowledge is the stepping stone to quantum manifestation and next generation consciousness. And it is also how we can overcome the negative egregore that supports the matrix control system. Another key piece of the manifestation puzzle is the role of gamma rays that activate the crystalline attributes of the pineal gland. Speaking of which, you may have seen recently in media coverage that massive gamma ray bursts, or GRBs, are emanating from space right now. GRBs are immensely energetic explosions of luminous electromagnetism that produce an afterglow of ultraviolet waves. Gamma ray bursts, according to science, are thought to come from supermassive black holes. On October 21st, 2022, digital media proclaimed that the brightest gamma ray burst ever recorded impacted Earth's atmosphere. According to reputable online sources, gamma rays are associated with higher brain functions like cognition and memory. Recent studies have revealed that increased gamma brain wave activity can help one achieve elevated levels of concentration and awareness, especially during meditation. Gamma rays' positive effects can be used to treat Alzheimer's, schizophrenia, epilepsy, ADHD, and mood disorders like depression, according to WebMD. Now we will hear from Sana.
Right now, experts are keen to discredit the link between gamma rays and peak performance. Academics and scientists are divided about the effects of gamma rays on the crystalline attributes of the human pineal. Despite this battle of the brains on Earth, Pluto, Pallas Athena, Scorpio, and Ophiuchus have positive messages for us. Many insights will arise from this new moon in Scorpio Ophiuchus. Among them is that we, humanity, are confronting astral entities that understand how to ensnare humans in the fires of desire via electromagnetism. Their vices diminish our light. To deconstruct the matrix is a Plutonic activity. As a forensic investigator, we can isolate the roots of the matrix architecture and identify how we are reacting to the negative energies being transmitted from within it. Knowledge is power. It is not possible to restore, regenerate, or transform the current political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental systems until we truly understand how they were manifested in the first place. These Saturnian structures reflect a holographic reality. In private readings, we describe Pluto and Scorpio through the metaphor of traveling to the depths of the ocean or the far reaches of space. Pluto is where we locate the zero-day flaws and algorithms that run the dark control system. With Pluto in the late stages of Sagittarius, representing our collective beliefs and highest levels of thinking, the interdimensional veils become thinner. Historically, the transit of Pluto over this region is a powerful cosmic signature, indicating transformative change lasting hundreds of years. The last time Pluto was in this position, as mentioned earlier, was in the 1770s, and before that, around 1528. Specifically, in 1776, with Pluto at 0 degrees Capricorn, 3 transformational global events occurred, all of which are coming to a head now. One was the establishment of the Illuminati by Adam Weishaupt. Another was the release of The Wealth of Nations by economist Adam Smith, which was the genesis of money printing and free market capitalism that have created a massive wealth divide. The third was the signing of the Declaration of Independence in the United States. The key event of 1522, again as Pluto approached the end of her travel through Sagittarius, was the publication of the Grand Grimoire, or Book of the Red Dragon. Events of the 1500s, 1776, and today are all linked by the synodic cycle of Pluto traversing Sagittarius. Most astrologers agree that Sagittarius represents philosophy, higher education, and metaphysics as the foundational principles of evolution. Therefore, Pluto through this sign will bring these concepts forward for review. Some of our collective practices, reflected in law, politics, and institutionalized learning, are crying out for revision and regenesis. What we are confronting with Pluto in Sagittarius is the widespread effects of the red dragon philosophies that represent the left-hand path, or service, to self. A pervasive dog-eat-dog Darwinian dogma has reared its head. The Grimoire is the Illuminati Bible encouraging total abandonment of virtue in exchange for power, money, sex, and control. While this is not the time and place for a detailed synopsis of how shadowy groups have exploited the red dragon energy, what we can sense is that 600 years of an abusive relationship, dating back to the 1500s, between the ruling elite and the 99%, has generated enormous trauma in the human collective. The Grimoire contains the inside secrets to manifestation using dark magic and the occult. Its origins are said to be the keys of Solomon. Of course, many insiders claim to be part of the Solomonic dynasty, which means they are card-carrying members of this exclusive club. The Grimoire details the dark magic used by secret societies, depraved individuals, devil worshippers, and clandestine groups to bind the planet and its inhabitants. It provides detailed knowledge of astrology, ritual, and alchemy, so there is no surprise to us that its emergence into the public domain coincides as a philosophical system with the transit of Pluto through Sagittarius in the 1500s. Pluto on the cusp of Sagittarius and Capricorn stirs shadow energies that require attention. This is part of how we, humans, will grow up. Pluto's location here indicates that the momentum of descension into depravity and chaos has been halted. In terms of timing, as Pluto moves from one sign to another, it signals the potential end to a 500-year cycle fueled by the occult energies of the red dragon. In short, the power source has been unplugged, but it's up to us to seize this opportunity. This does not mean that humanity can simply avoid the repercussions of black magic practiced for centuries. So to kickstart the process of regeneration, Source Consciousness will pour highly refined healing energies onto the planet between November 2022 to April 2023, coinciding astrologically with the movement of several key planets, Neptune, Pluto, and Saturn. Amplifying this process will be the Sun moving through Ophiuchus between November 30 and December 18, 2022. This is a period when the divine ether will be strongly felt. Ether is thought to be the element that propagates the transmission of electromagnetic and gravitational forces. While attempts are being made to discredit ether theories, rigorous studies go back to the 1670s when Newton began formally experimenting with it. He and others postulate that the wave nature of light requires a vector through which it moves to create matter. Think of how sunlight stimulates growth in the garden. The word matter derives from the Latin word materia, meaning the substance from which something is made. Matter, therefore, means origin, source, or mother. It is the mother that gives life to matter, and it is the ether through which universal intelligence is transmitted to Earth. Predictably, many modern scientists, deny the existence of ether because it steers them away from considering any discussion on the esoteric ideas about the mother of creation. As an archetype, Ophiuchus is the magic elixir that leads eventually to our personal magnum opus, a phenomena central to spiritual awakening. We access her by focusing on her divine presence. The magnum opus occurs as the Kundalini energies progressively activate the 33 vertebrae of the spine. Kundalini energies contain an ether that opens the medulla oblongata located at the brainstem. As we conclude, let us reflect. The 13-sign astrological system contains puzzle pieces that help us interpret individual and collective experiences. 13-sign astrology is ancient knowledge that has been kept secret to all but the insiders who have used it for themselves. These insights, once applied to your life, can have profound impacts on how you perceive and interpret your reason for being. For those of us contemplating and considering what creative contributions we can make as the third dimension collapses, now is the time to go inwards, in mindfulness and meditation, to clarify your ideas. We know that we are swimming against the tide of popular astrological opinion. However, this is how we develop strength, resilience, and character. Unfortunately, much of what is talked about in mainstream astrology, especially when it comes to the period October through December each year, bears no relationship to the reality of where the planetary bodies are found as they move through the 13 primary constellations. If we are to utilize astrology as a map of consciousness, which is precisely what the red dragon energies do, would it not make sense to ensure we are aligned with the planetary archetypes and where they are on their respective travels through our solar system? This next 6 months will be characterized by transformation, transmutation, and transcendence. Neptune slides into Pisces shortly. Saturn moves into Aquarius around February 17, 2023, and Pluto enters Capricorn about a month after that. These significant celestial events involving the transpersonal planets signal imminent, long-lasting changes in consciousness across the multiverse. We have all that we need to extinguish the fires of desire. It is time for us to reunite with our soul tribes so we can accelerate the rebalancing of the darkness and light, the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang. Thank you for listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. You will also find us on Facebook at David Carrington. Namaste. This has been a production of Star Kittens Media. All rights are reserved.